Hey everybody, welcome back to the Alignment Academy with Reema. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about how I went from being burnt out and overworked, and I was such a hot mess, and I was so depleted, and my health was being affected, to this place of where today, like, you can't even pay me to overwork. I like burnout where never again is not an option. I feel like I have pretty great boundaries today. I moved from a place of feeling well rested and rejuvenated. And if this is your vibe, definitely make sure you subscribe. And if it's not your vibe and you are burnt out and you feel like you're in this hole and you feel like you're stuck and you're trying to get out of it, definitely subscribe as well, because this video should definitely be helpful. But let's get into it. So the moment I felt most depleted and burnt out and sick and so unfulfilled, and it was a mess. It was not a good place to be in. Every day was just such a drain and such a drag for me. That was my first career after college. It was literally like my first job after college. So I was living in New York City, and I really wanted to work in a creative field. So I was looking at music, I was looking at fashion, I was looking at a few different places, and I decided that the music industry was the place that I really wanted to work. So I got at the time, my dream job in the music industry, and about a week or two in, I was like, this is not it. In fact, I was like, 9-to-5 work culture for me is not it. And that doesn't mean that 9-to-5 work culture is bad. It just means that for some people it doesn't work. For some people it's perfect. You're receiving consistent paychecks, you have a consistent routine. But for other people like me, it feels like my soul is being strangled. It feels like suffocating. Like, it does not feel good for me. And that work culture, that specific place I was at, on top of it, it was not a good place. So I was working, I was doing a bunch of tasks that to me felt meaningless. I felt like I have really good discernment and eyes to know what tasks move the needle when working versus what tasks are, they're just like to keep you busy. It's not really meaningful. It's kind of like, what's the point of doing this? So I felt like a lot of the work I was doing, it was like, what's the point of doing this? The work culture, it just did not feel good to me. And I was staying really late for no reason. My first year, or maybe a little less than a year, because at the time my manager would stay really late for no reason. So I was just there, like, twiddling my thumbs, catching the train back home in New York City, like, late at night. It was not good. And my energy, it started getting very drained. Like, I was tired waking up every day. Like, after I was sleeping, I was waking up, I did not feel rested. I just felt tired. Like, how do you wake up tired? And it just felt very yucky, and it started to affect my health a bit. So that's all of the health. That's physical health, that's mental health, that's emotional health. And that was probably the lowest I've been when it comes to burnout. And then also on top of that, I'm in New York City, which is such a beautiful creative city, but it's also such a very fast-paced city. It's like, you go to work, after work there's an event, and then after that there's an event, and then you go home, and then repeat, and then repeat, and then you go here, then you're running around town, then you're on a train for 2 hours, you're here in Harlem and Brooklyn. It's just like, it's such a fast-paced city. The norm is to kind of be overworked in a sense. So yes, that was my lowest place. And today I just want to talk a little bit about how I got out of that, and I, didn't stay in it for too long. I was in it for probably about 2 years. Actually, any amount of time is too long, because you shouldn't have to be in that at all. So let's get into it. And if you see me looking down, it's because I did write down a few notes. So the first thing I wrote down was create boundaries. And even as I was just talking, I was like, why did I say yes to all of those things? Like, why was I doing work, staying late? Why did I ever say yes to staying late? That makes zero sense. I think for everyone watching this, we have to realize that the power of our yes is so important. Our yes is like gold. You do not give out your yes to every single person. Literally treat your yes like a diamond. It's 2024. Even if you are at work and you feel like the culture is kind of pressuring you to be something or stay late, I would choose me. Like, choose yourself, choose your mental health, and create those boundaries from the get-go. Like, create the impression that you're not available for this off the jump, and treat your yes like gold. If I had the boundaries that I have today back, 9 years ago or however long ago that was, when I was in this burnt out place, I probably wouldn't actually be burnt out because my boundaries would be rock solid, and I would just be very clear on what I'm available for and what I'm not available for. And I wouldn't be available for half the things that were burning me out. I would not have been available for staying late for no reason. I wouldn't have been available for busy work. I would have pushed back more on, okay, but what's the purpose of this? And I know that there's, in the corporate world, there's a professional way of saying it, but I would have basically been like, why are we doing this? And if it wasn't a clear answer, I would have definitely pushed back. I would have had clearer boundaries around all of the extra activities. Some of them were really, really fun, and I would have said yes to those, but maybe not as often or every day, or maybe some of the ones that weren't as fun, or if I was just really honoring my body that day, I would have said no. I would have been more clear on the things I was putting inside of my body. We were eating out a lot, so I just would have been more conscious about my health. I would have just been in such a better place because I have rock solid boundaries today. So it's not always about where you're at. It's about you. It's not the outside that's the problem. It's you. You're the problem sometimes. You can level up your boundaries 10 times and be in the same exact environment and have a completely different experience. That's why you can have two different people in the same room having the same, external experience, but internally there are two different people that are having two different experiences. One person might be very burnt out because they're letting everything wear them down, which was the old me. And then the other person might feel great because they have rock solid boundaries, which is the new me. And also, if you're interested in deepening into your boundaries, I do have a boundaries masterclass that I absolutely love. I feel like it's a game changer. I feel like it's a very foundational course. This is something that they should teach children. This is something that they should teach in school, but it teaches you how to level up your boundaries tenfold in every single way. And I really love this course. I approach it from all angles. So from the scientific angle, from the emotional angle, from the spiritual angle, and it dives into the depth of what boundaries really are. And it's not about pushing everything out. It's about having rock solid boundaries so that you can attract what's really in alignment for you. And if you purchase that course, you do have lifetime access. So if I ever do any, bonus group coaching and bring everyone together, you'll have access to that for, it's a bonus. It's included. So definitely check that out. But number one, have rock solid boundaries and treat your yes like a diamond. It's not for everyone. It's not for everything. Say no more. Got it? Okay. Number two, prioritize self-care. Point blank period, prioritize self-care. And when I think about the word self-care, for me, the first thing that's coming up right now is that I feel like this word has been thrown around a little bit too much. And now when people think of self-care, they think of a face mask or they think of a bubble bath. And it's like, if you are in a toxic work culture and you don't have no boundaries, a face mask is not going to fix your problem. You're going to feel good for 20 minutes and then you're going to go back to feeling miserable because that is not going to fix the problem. So when I think about self-care, I think about soul level self-care. I think about self-care on a cellular level, on the deepest level possible, which really means choosing you by any means necessary. It means prioritizing yourself, putting yourself first, and doing whatever you have to do to make sure you feel good. It doesn't necessarily mean a bubble bath or a face mask or like a nail salon day. It can mean those things. You can like put that in there, but that's not the foundation of what self-care is. It's almost the energy of being selfish. That's what's coming to me. Like self-care equals being selfish equals prioritizing yourself, being full of yourself and putting your needs and your wants first above all else. And if you have an open heart, if you're a good person with integrity, you're not going to dip into that shadow, that kind of like scary version of selfish. In fact, I think being selfish will actually balance out a lot of women, where we can be more in harmony with ourselves, because a lot of women are taught from a young age to be selfless, where they're putting everyone else before themselves, and then they're an empty, dried out cup feeling crazy. So I think being selfish will bring a lot of people back into the middle, where you can be in harmony with yourself. So self-care on the deepest level, which means choosing you. If you need to, pull out a journal and ask yourself, how can I choose myself? Because when you're not choosing yourself, you're actually betraying yourself. When you're not choosing yourself, you're actually betraying yourself. And how can you build a deep level of self-trust when you're consistently betraying yourself? So prioritize self-care on the deepest level, not the surface level, fluffy, self-care, but on the deepest level possible. Yes. And then for the third point, I put be willing to walk away. And I think that this is a form of self-care. This is also a form of boundaries, being willing to walk away. So if you are in a work culture where it's driving you crazy, honestly, look for another job. That's it. Or if they're not trying to pay you, look for another job. That's why I end up leaving, that company, because I was like, it's stressful. There was a point where I remember I was walking to work. I remember at this time it was near Central Park, because they moved offices, and my stomach, the way I am, I get physical reactions in my body. That's just how I am. If I walk into an area that's not safe, I'm going to feel something crazy in my body. And at this time, my last few months there, or maybe my last 6 months there, as I was walking to work every day, I would get off the train. As soon as I stepped off the train, my body knew. My body was like, bitch, you going back to that place? And it would put like knots in my stomach. I would feel sick in my stomach walking to work every single day for like those last few months there. And that's when it hit me. Like that's when it really hit me upside in my head. I said, I gotta go. Like I can't do this anymore. I have to go. So be willing to walk away, and hopefully don't even wait as long as I did. Don't wait until you're getting sick, or don't wait until you're getting cursed out, or don't wait, like whatever it is, if it's toxic, if you're being disrespected, if you feel like you're disrespecting yourself or betraying yourself, get another job or get another career. There's so many possibilities. Start a business, like whatever it is that you need to do, create an exit plan and get out of there ASAP, because they don't deserve you, and you don't deserve to betray yourself. There are options. There's more than enough. There's more than enough. There's options. You do not ever have to settle for something that's making you sick. That's what I would tell my old self. I would have told her to dip early. It's so interesting, because it's funny how sometimes people see you before you see yourself. And I remember my father told me when I was graduating college, I think, he said that, he was like, you're not meant to have a 9-to-5, or he's like, you're not meant to work in like a traditional office space. He was like, that's not going to work for you. Like you got to do, he was like, your personality type and just your being, you're going to want something different. And it's funny because looking back, I'm like, he knew before I knew. But yeah, it's not for everyone, but wherever you are, be willing to walk away. Like, leave now. If you feel like you need permission to leave a situation, leave a job, leave a career, leave a relationship, leave a neighborhood, leave a whatever, this is your permission right here. You got permission to leave. Go. You are not a tree. You do not have to stay in one place forever. And even trees don't stay in one place forever. I know that probably sounds a little crazy, but go Google the trees in California. Google like where they came from and how they literally like migrated to California. So you do not have to stay in one place. You have permission to leave and do your inner work. That's really the key. That's the game changer here. Do your inner work, because if you want to change your external environment, you have to change your internal environment. So literally working on the internal you. And if you're more interested in that, check out my other videos, check out my courses. I also offer limited one-on-one coaching, so you can email me. The link will be below, and send this to someone who might need it, and definitely subscribe as well. And I hope everyone has a beautiful, beautiful day. See ya.